Hi, welcome to Middle Class Mindset. My name is Starsky Inspires. Hey, today in this episode, we're going to be taking a shot at talking about work-life balance. And I'm hoping in this episode that I bring this subject matter to you in a fresher way than how many people perceive work-life balance. Because, hey, I already know what you're thinking. But hey, stick with me through this episode, and maybe I can give you a viewpoint that you might not have considered from my perspective. So, as we get into this video, we're talking today about work life balance, something that is a key to success, to career, to family, to purpose, to all this stuff. Everything takes work, and everything takes a life to work it, right? So the work part is the part you do that has a sense of obligation, duty, responsibility, the same as your personal life has the same connotations, your obligations, your duty, responsibility. Shout out Grant Cardone. Um, so how do you balance that? And this is the type of thing that people, for many episodes, they try their hardest to explain their work life balance. But in this episode, what I'm going to aim to try to show you how to do is to understand work life balance not as a singular formula, but as a way to be customized, to customize your own work life balance. But there are some parameters that you must understand before you can ever get to that word balance, because you got to understand your work is requiring something, which is right. Your personal life is requiring something, which is right. The biggest confusion that people get is when they feel more about one side than they do the other. You're more of a workaholic and less involved in your household, or you want to be more involved in your household and you suck on the job. It's like, wait a minute, both of these things can work together, but you got to get your head wrapped around it correctly so that you can see what I'm trying to get you to see, so we can get to this word balance. Now, on their own, there is no such thing as balance between work and personal life. There is no such thing as balance. There's no such thing. But I'm going to show you in this episode. I know I am making a huge claim with what I'm saying, but just continue to listen on to what I'm saying, and you'll see where I'm getting. I mean, follow me, follow me. I got you on this. Okay. When you think about work, when you think about life, two strong entities that is necessary for everyday life. It's necessary because very few people, I mean, just the turn of the century, people started being able to work from home. But as a staple through history, people left their homes and went out into the field or went out into the marketplace. And that's where they found this thing called work. So work has always been a separate thing from your personal life, right? So when you think about these two things, they're like this pull and push thing. You need to first understand, when it comes to work life balance, is that the fact is, the reality is, work and personal life will never agree. Do you hear what I'm saying? Work and personal life would never agree. They would never be friends. Even when you find somebody working from home, I guarantee you they carve out a part of their day where they're no longer sitting at the dock of the bay, watching the tides roll away. They're taking some time out to schedule for work, because there is a benefit that work gives you that many times your personal life doesn't give you. Your hobbies, your family, your different things like that, that makes you feel a deep sense of nourishment. Work gives you something that those things many times cannot. Because even if you were a mother and you're working, you started your own daycare, and you're thinking, wow, I'm getting paid, to do my passion because I love kids. It's like, yeah, a part of that is personal, but when it comes to putting money involved in something, that's work. So if you don't treat the kids right, even if it's your passion, you're going to stop getting the money. Do you know what I'm saying? So both of these things are opposed to one another, but they are necessary. They are like, step siblings, if I can say that. I mean, they exist together, but they are opposed. They are independently opposed to one another. Both of these two things want their own way. All right. So that's enough metaphors that I've given you. When you think about work, when you think about personal life, in order for you to get to that place called balance, you got to understand that there are three main things that both sides are demanding from everybody. No matter if you're the CEO, no matter if you are working class, no matter if you work from home or you go to a business, no matter if you're sitting on the curb twiddling your thumbs, let me tell you, these two entities will still come and find you. No one can get away from it. There is no such thing as a person that is not involved in these two things on some level. All right. Both sides demand three major things. They demand time, they demand effort, and they demand focus. Are you flowing with me? They demand time, they demand effort, they demand focus. The problem or the issue that happens with us as workers, as people who are dedicated to our families, and we're trying to build a lifestyle, right? Because these two things help build whatever you consider to be a lifestyle, right? They work together to build something, even though these are two strong personalities, if I can say that. They both require time, effort, and focus. Here's the part that makes our mental makes us a little more confused, right? Is that work starts demanding time that your personal life at the same time is demanding the same time. You have a job, let's use my schedule. I have a job that my work schedule is 12 plus hours. In that 12 plus hours, there's things in my personal life that will love to get a piece of that 12 hours to do things that I need to do either around the house or for my family so while I'm at work, my personal life is trying to impose on my work, trying to get time. Okay. While you at home, many times your work is wanting you to come in for an extra day or to fill in for somebody else. It's asking for home time while you're at home. All right. Your efforts, you're on the job, and your job is requiring you to be a certain level of productive. You're to be effective and efficient and work with a sense of excellence. Your job is demanding that, right? And while you're trying to focus and work on that, you get a call from your personal life needing you to, to stop the train and use that time to come home and deal with personal life stuff, right? So you got that pushing and pulling. When you're spending time on one, the other one could be pressuring you for something. When you're spending effort on one, the other could want the effort at the same time. But what about focus? Many cases, people who are at work are not just thinking about work. They're thinking with these phrases like "Thank God it's Friday" or "Hump Day Wednesday." I mean, they have these things that says they're not quite completely focused on work. But then when you're at home and you look at your finances and you look at your lifestyle and you realize that money is tight and it's been tight for a long time. And so your focus is not even at home at the kitchen or the dinner table or sitting with family. Your focus is not even there. Your focus is scattered again, thinking about how can I go and work to get more to support my home life, to make my home life more comfortable. This tug of war happens when people talk about work-life balance. Many people talk about work-life balance in a way that they say it like they totally got it all under control. Hope I didn't hit the mic just then. They talk like they totally got it all under control. No, I'm just making sure the mic is on because I recorded one time, got my points going, got my little runs going, and the mic wasn't even on. I mean, the video was playing, but everything was muted, man. Oh my God. So I didn't want that to happen again. And hopefully it's playing, in the back or whatever. All right. So people have taken great lengths to try to get this work-life balance. But most people do not grasp that concept to understand that these two things are opposed to one another, yet they work together to build a lifestyle. They are not friends. They both want their own way. So how do you balance that? How do you balance that? How do you balance two strong personalities clashing at one another, trying to get your time, your effort, and your focus? How do you balance that? I'm going to stop here just for a dramatic pause, because what I got to tell you next about how to create balance, you're going to look at me a little bit sideways, and I understand why you looking at me sideways. I'm saying, before I say it, I already know why you looking at me that way. I get it. It should be some more complex. It should be something a little more, But in order to get work in life to come to the table together, to sit at the table together, balance has to be there. But balance is not called balance when you're trying to get these things to work together. What it's called is being present. You see what I'm saying? It's called, work-life balance is work being present, life. I'm at work and I'm in a present moment at work. When I'm in a present moment at work, I'm giving work the respect it demands. When work is asking for my time, effort, and focus, if I am not giving work my total time, effort, and focus while I'm there, I'm going to miss out on a lot of benefits. But the way that you do that, you got to be in a present moment. You got to be in the present moment. When you get there on Monday, you got to be all the way at work on Monday, mentally, emotionally. You got to physically, you got to be at work in a present moment. You cannot come to work thinking about being somewhere else. Can't do it. You're not going to have work-life balance because they're opposed to one another. And if you're at work thinking about being somewhere else, then when opportunity shows up in this area, you're going to miss it every single time. You're going to miss it every single time. If you're coming to work and you're complaining about the state of your job, the state of your company, how they treat you, you're going to miss opportunities all day long. Why? Because those things take you out of a present moment. If you need balance at home, you got to be at a present moment. When you worked all day, you get home and your kids want you to help them with homework, or your spouse wants to have this full-length conversation with you, even though you don't feel like it. When your personal life is demanding your time, effort, and focus, You got to remember, you have a obligation, duty, and responsibility to both sides. So when you get home and those things come at you, when you get to the door, they just barrage you. They just get you, like a bear. They just jump on you. You have to be in a present moment. If you're not in a present moment, then all the benefits on this side, I guarantee you're going to miss, because your wife is going to quiz you to ask you if you remember what she said the other day. And if you weren't in the present moment, you did not hear it. Or your kids, they have a program at school that they told you the day that it was going to be at school. And if you're not in the present moment, I guarantee you did not write that down, Playboy or Play. You ain't write that down. You missed that appointment. I already know. I already know. Or your focus. If your grass and your upkeep of your maintenance of your house is not in play, you know what I'm saying? All of that stuff affects this side, and it bleeds over into this side. A present moment is the key to work-life balance. You got to be present on both sides. You got to be present. This is how you create the balance. Let's get into that. How do you create the balance? All right. When you're at work, and this is just tips and tricks. Now, I'm talking to you from my heart, but I already had this lesson planned. But I just want to talk it in a way to where you don't feel like I'm preaching at you or I'm trying to school you. I'm just trying to bring you into this discussion so you can kind of smooth out your edges and fill in some of the cracks that may have made you miss opportunities on both sides. All right. So, how do you create balance if we got to be in a present moment? When you're on your job, this is how you push back personal life. When you're on your job, you got to treat the job and let everything outside of your job understand that the job gives me the resources and the things that help me to make my personal life more comfortable for me, right? So I must give my work its total due, its total respect, its total attention when I'm there. When I'm there, I don't need to be complaining about the time and the effort and the focus that they're demanding me. I must respect it simply for the fact that you chose to be there. If you chose to give your time there, you must come to a place of peace where you realize that I respect my job, not because it's my life purpose. This is not what God put me on the earth to do. This is where I chose to give my time. And based upon the things, the criteria in which I chose this job is going to help put me in a position for my personal life, right? So now you're starting to create. Now you're starting to make. It's like when you're at work. If you had to choose sides, given the fact that these are strong personalities, when you're at work, you need to be on work side. You need to defend work when you're at work, right? You need to defend it. When you're at home, you need to defend home. You need to tell your company, if you cannot do it, you need to tell them, hey, I cannot come in for such and such person because of the situation you got in your home, right? You must, if you on whatever side, you got to defend it. Because when you defend your home life and you push work back and say, work, I'm not going to give you my time, effort, and focus. I'm going to give that to my home. What you're doing is fighting for the things that nourishes you to work, right? It's funny how work and your personal life gives you something in and of itself to help one another, even though they both are not friends. They're not friends. You have people who are what's considered workaholics. they at work, 60 to 80 plus hours a day, and you will find that they would try to turn some element of work into something personal, right? They would have, Hawaiian shirt Fridays or something like this. Like, why are you doing that? You're doing that because you're longing for that personal time that you're not getting when you're on the job. So when you see things like that, you can see that somebody is not defending something. That's why it's no balance. Because in order for me to be in a present moment at home, I've got to be completely on the side of personal time. I must defend that. I must speak up for that. I must stand and let the job know you're not going to do this. Even though, there could be repercussions, whatever. I don't know your situation. I'm just trying to give you a fresher illustration because when it comes to moving and making careers and success and different things like that, when you understand this dynamic, you will be able to be in a position where you realize you have more options than they're really telling you. Then the job is really telling you. They not telling you all the options you have. Or at home, you have more options than you know, but you are not having that discussion. So when you're trying to create work-life balance, you're in a present moment. You're defending work when you're at work. You're defending home when you're at home. Okay, so now it's like now just having discussions to make sure that work only gives me what it needs to give me, and home only pours into me what it needs to pour into me. So as I am moving through the marketplace, trying grabbing on to certain levels of success and different things, you're moving on up the ladder. When you understand this, when you're at work, if you're focused at work good enough, you can know where promotion is. You can know when it's your time to leave a company. It's so much you can know. You can know when you're working really good and you got money flowing real good. You can know how much money you need to save up, maybe to buy a rental property or to buy something where you can create a second income. But see, you got to be focused on work. You cannot look at work as something that one day at 65 you're done. You're going to stop doing. Let me tell you something. People that have retired even now, they probably still cut their grass. They probably still try to find something to make them feel productive. Anybody that says, man, I'm retired now, I can just go and kick up my legs. Yeah, you kick up your legs for a couple of months, but that work side of us as a human race, it has to be fulfilled, man. You're gonna be hungry for work again on some level, right? On some level. So when you're thinking about work-life balance, you got to be able to customize it to your lifestyle. Take a look starting today. What is your work schedule? How many hours is work requiring of you? What are they requiring of you in terms of effort? How much focus does it take for you in that regard? And you got to look at whatever occupation that you're in. As a truck driver, they're asking for 12 plus hours of my time. The effort is I'm going to be driving about 300 miles a day, and I'm on the low end of truck driving. I'm local. Most OTR drivers drive a lot longer than that. So I understand my effort, and my focus is going to be my ability to drive 10 hours a day. I'm gonna have to be able to be energized enough that I can drive 10 hours. So if I know that my job is requiring those things, I automatically know to tell my wife, hey, I can't be there at this time because during those hours at home, I'm still at work. Or I tell some of my friends, hey, I know we're gonna have this wine thing and I kind of want to be a part of it, but because of what my job is demanding of me, I can't make those things, right? Or then on the personal life side, I tell my job, hey, I work for you 5 days. The 2 days that you give me off, sometimes I will come in for an extra day if it's necessary, if it fits the goals that I'm working towards at a certain time. But if it's not necessary and it don't fit the goals that I'm working and at the time, then no, I am going to stick with my family, even if we're sitting on the couch binging Netflix. I mean, even if we're doing that, I'm going to be in a present moment on both sides. So let me ask you, when you think about work life balance, are you in a present moment? Are you? Are you 100% at work when you're at work? Are you 100% at home when you're at home? It's something to think about because we think a lot of times that we need more motivation. We need somebody to tell us how great and how smart that we came from the bottom and we on our way to the top, that the haters can't stop us, obstacles. It's like all of that stuff is evading the question. If you're not even in a present moment in your life, then are the obstacles you're facing really obstacles? Because if you really had focus on it, you will see that a lot of the fears that we face are not even as big as we think it is. It's because you cannot see where the brick came from and you think it's a gang of people out there. You never know. When you have focus on something, all of a sudden it becomes smaller. It becomes more condensed. Hey, I hope this helps you. This was my shot at talking about work-life balance in a fresher perspective to help you to grab hold of that word, to see what it is, to take that myth out of it and build something customized for yourself. Hey, my name's Starsky Inspires. Hey, if you like this comment, I mean this this comment, this content, like and subscribe. Write in the comments. How are you going to start doing your work-life balance going forward? Uh, Write down in the comments, do you struggle with being in a present moment? I want to know because I respond to all of my comments, because I like that engagement because this is just a discussion. I'm not schooling you. This is just a discussion so that you can think better than the rest. Hey, my name is Starsky Inspires, work-life balance. Hey, thank you for watching this episode. Hey, see me in the next one where we're going to be talking about, living long enough to spend it. But I know, you got to hear this. See you next time.